All right, guys, welcome back to the Dubai After Dark podcast. Unfortunately, today it's not quite after dark yet, so it's Dubai during darkness. It's getting dark.
Dubai daytime.
Yeah, we got a golf round tonight, so we are
Making that a priority over you guys.
filming a bit early tonight.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it.
Okay, segment 1. I want to do a little bit of a business discussion with you. Okay, so I got a couple questions for you. You're a successful online entrepreneur. What inspired you to get started in the online world and entrepreneurial world?
Yeah, for me, I mean, like probably most people, freedom, the number one thing. I think it just really came down to hating my job. I think most people can probably relate to that. And I was willing to put more on my shoulders, take on added stress, take a risk in order to try to break free of having to work for someone, you know? And so I always had thoughts of starting businesses. I just never had any experience. You know, neither of my parents are entrepreneurs. So it ultimately just came down to me wanting to take that leap. But I was mostly motivated by the pain of wanting to leave a job that I didn't really feel fulfilled at or enjoyed. And so, I wanted to take a risk, at least while I was young.
Yeah, definitely. And any regrets, or are you happy with your decision?
Definitely happy with my decision. Obviously, it's led to maybe a more stressful lifestyle, but it's also led to a happier lifestyle. I guess my only regret would be I wish I started earlier. I wish I didn't waste it doing any. I wish I never spent any of my late teens doing anything that anyone else wanted me to do.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to someone who is just starting out as an online entrepreneur or wanting to get into the space?
I mean, it totally depends on your situation. I would think about what you're good at and try to play to your strengths. If you want to get into some sort of entrepreneurship, it's not going to be easy. I mean, there is quick success stories out there, but most things are going to take time and trial and error. You can't expect to be good right away, but you got to put yourself out there too. You know, it might be your third business that finally takes off. I was fortunate enough that my first one did, and that success kind of snowballed into other business ventures. But you got to be willing to take a couple beat downs before you give up. You know what I mean? Because if you only give yourself one at bat, you might win, you might not.
Yeah.
Even if you had an 80% chance of succeeding and you failed, you might, if you quit right there, you never know. The next one could have been a win. So just stay persistent. You got to realize that you're competing against other people and their dreams too. And whoever is willing to kind of snatch that opportunity and take it is who's going to ultimately succeed. And so most people aren't that hard to beat. If you just stay consistent and dedicated for several years, you're going to beat 99% of the competition, and then, you know, you're going to do well for yourself.
Right. I love that. Yeah, I definitely think that just staying consistent, and at the end of the day, it's just a numbers game. So if you can do something more than someone else and do it better, then your chances of succeeding are going to be greater.
Exactly. And it doesn't come down to, I mean, IQ helps, experience helps, but at the end of the day, you put yourself in enough situations with enough consistency and you'll get where you want to be.
Yeah. So having said all that, we know that you have to stay consistent and work hard, but what were some of the biggest challenges you have faced from starting your business?
So I've definitely had my fair share of issues. Starting was relatively smooth, actually. Prepared myself well. There was little things here or there where I learned the platform. I personally sell on Amazon, so there was things there that I didn't know that I had to learn, and probably lost small amounts of money here or there just making mistakes and learning.
Right.
But some of my bigger losses have come, you know, more recently as I've taken bigger risks. I've had suppliers give me horrible quality product and spent, you know, 50 to 100K on some orders that the supplier didn't do a good job on, and I got bad reviews. So that would be like one of the examples of a major disappointment that cost me a lot of money.
Okay, thank you for that. You've talked before about finding the right wave to ride. So whether that be Amazon, drop shipping, I know there's a couple other options out there. How do you stay up to date on these new waves, and what's the best way to identify a good opportunity in your opinion?
Yeah, that's obviously very important. A rising tide raises all ships, as I think Michael Rosmer always says. It's definitely important to keep your ear to what's happening. You know, you can't just be buried in your own industry for 10 years, you know, not peeking around and seeing what's happening. So I definitely recommend people try to network as much as possible. I know I get a lot of my knowledge from YouTube. I just, in my free time, I enjoy learning stuff on YouTube, and that's a resource that people 20 years ago didn't have. And so our generation, with the power of social media and technology, you know, we have the ability to learn a lot more than previous generations. So just staying up to date, seeing what honestly, some big YouTubers are doing. And, you know, maybe you see a bunch of people online talking about this opportunity or that opportunity. Well, maybe that leads you to look into a slightly related but different opportunity. Or maybe you see someone in, I don't know, America doing something, and you're a Canadian and you think, okay, well, maybe I can replicate this in Canada. But it's all about just filtering through information, getting a lot of good information, and then sorting through the bad and trying to pick out the good. You know, for example, I know Airbnb in the States is like a very big business. Obviously, it is in Canada too, but there's different scenarios there. You're like, okay, maybe in Canada it's less saturated, or there's bigger opportunities, or maybe, you know, you go to a less developed nation and bring the Airbnb business model to a place like Georgia where you can buy an apartment for $50,000, you know? So it's all about kind of taking in some information, getting creative with it. And the more good ideas you're exposed to, they kind of build up to a central intelligence you have of the whole business world.
Right. And so, as you said, you're obviously highly knowledgeable and experienced in the world of Amazon. For people that want to get involved with Amazon, how should they enter the space? Like, where can they go for information? Is it worth them buying some of these courses that YouTubers are selling? Any thoughts or opinions on that?
Yeah, Amazon is a very complex system. Amazon themselves don't even do a great job of educating people to sell on Amazon. And that can be a blessing, but it can also be a curse. So when you're learning, it's very complicated. A lot of things don't make sense. A lot of the things within the Seller Central platform don't even work, or, you know, they're improving it these days. But when I was learning it, it was like you click on a certain button that should do something and it doesn't do it, and you have to find a workaround. So there's a lot of frustrations with Amazon altogether. And like I said, it's a blessing and a curse because most people just give up. And so it actually keeps a lot of the competition out. Right. Obviously, the few people that persevere and figure these things out, they go on to sell. And so you're competing against the people that are more persistent, right? In terms of where people can start, once again, I'm a big advocate of going on YouTube. I have my own channel, just in case anyone wants to know. Just search my name, Graham Winship. I try to give out advice when I can. I'm not the biggest seller out there, but, you know, I've done 7 figures for 4 straight years, and, you know, I don't have a whole lot to sell anyone, maybe one day, but I just enjoy putting out good content. But yeah, the best places to go are just YouTube videos, and then obviously self-experimentation. Usually the first place I actually point people is, there's a company called Jungle Scout. They're a software that helps you analyze different products to sell on Amazon. Anyways, they have their own YouTube channel, and they've put a bunch of money into step-by-step breakthroughs about how to sell on Amazon. And so I typically actually recommend people just go watch. They usually do, every year they do a series where they go from scratch and they start a product, and they take you through all the steps of finding that product, sourcing it, shipping it from China, and eventually selling it on Amazon. And so it's actually, you know, I'm not self-promoting here. I think that's a great place to start, you know, and it's maybe takes 20 hours to watch the whole series. If you can't sit through 20 hours of content, then how are you ever going to make it?
Yeah, it's probably not for you.
I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, awesome. I'm sure there's a lot people can take from that. And what are your plans for the future of your business? Do you have any big goals coming up, or anything you're setting out to achieve within the next few years?
So my business has had a rough year. The big mistake from the supplier really dampened the last 12 months of profits and sales. So immediate goal number 1 is just to kind of revamp those listings, relaunch those products from scratch without their reviews being tanked. Yeah, because that's essentially what happened. So definitely want to just grow back to my peak. My peak was probably 2021 when I was making the most sales and profit. And I definitely let the business slip somewhat. So I'm hoping to get back to and then surpass my profit that I'm used to. Definitely want to look into selling the business once it's at a healthy point. I think there comes a time in every seller's business where it just doesn't give you that fire anymore. You want to maybe work on something else. And I've owned this brand for 6 years now. So would like to get it up to a point where it's attractive to a buyer and then sell it. And then I can, reinvest that money elsewhere or start from scratch. I really do enjoy the process of starting things from scratch.
Okay.
I just know that. Even as like a child, the most enjoyable part of like a video game would be the beginning. And because I like starting things from scratch.
Right.
And so
you like the challenge.
Yeah, it's different for every entrepreneur. Some people like scaling pre-existing businesses, but I think I'd get fired up starting another thing from scratch once I've sold my current business.
That's awesome. And you mentioned your YouTube channel. So any other plans for social media?
Definitely. Yeah. So we got a content team coming, and, I truly believe that social media is more important than ever when it comes to making money online. I think just the brand power that you have by building a following and the credibility that builds is a cash cow in today's entrepreneurial world. So
right.
Definitely we're getting back on filming. I've been filming a lot over the last couple of weeks. We got a lot of stuff being edited, and I just want to get the content back up to a level where, I'm proud of it and I want to help people. I still think this is an amazing business model, and so I'll focus the majority of my content on Amazon. But yeah, I plan on social media to be a larger portion of my day. Historically, it's pretty much been 95% Amazon, but I want to split it a bit more between social media and education and stuff like that.
Awesome. All right. So this next question, it's getting a little bit away from the business side of things, but still, like you were just talking about, kind of the personal side of things that you are going to start doing on social media. What are your thoughts on university, and should kids be going to university these days? Should they be listening to their parents? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, for a while I've kind of advised against university unless you know exactly what you want to do. And I only think university is worth it if you're getting into a field that has a pretty guaranteed income and you're not going to be searching for jobs after university. So that, eliminates probably 80% of people that even go to university. There's no point in a lot of those worthless degrees out there, especially in today's world when business is evolving so fast. Like year to year, it's different these days. And so by the time you get through a 4-year degree, the world's going to be a different place.
Yeah.
And so I believe more in staying on top of the current trends. I think we're about to see the next 3 to 5 years be crazy. And I think that's AI driven.
Right.
I believe that it's going to make a big impact. I think everyone realizes that, but they don't realize just how big it will be and how important it will be. So, I mean, if I had to do it all over again, once again, I would not go to university. I think it is a waste of most people's time and money, but if you have a surefire career path that you're targeting, it definitely makes sense for some people. It's also just boring. I mean, like I don't want to waste 4 years of my life studying books. I'd rather learn stuff based on what I know is important rather than just following a curriculum that was set 15 years ago.
Yeah, have someone tell you what is important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, there's an old saying that those who can't do, teach. I mean, what business professor at your local university actually runs a business?
Exactly.
Well, none of them, because if they did, they wouldn't be teaching.
Exactly. So regarding AI, is AI just running free? Like, do you think we will get to a point where we can't contain AI and it will start taking over things?
I mean, I hope not. My guess is probably as good as yours. I think the time to regulate AI is long gone. I mean, I remember years ago hypothesizing in my head the future effects of AI when I would listen to Elon Musk talk about it. And I was listening to him 4 or 5 years ago when he was saying, I tried to talk to them, they wouldn't listen. When he tried to talk to, I think it was Obama.
Really?
So, the time to stop it was back then. Let's hope it doesn't destroy the world in some crazy way that none of us expect. It's definitely on the table these days. I like to stay positive. So, I mean, worrying about it isn't of much benefit to anybody, but
it's not.
I think there's definitely potential for a lot of good and there's potential for a lot of bad.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely an uneasy topic for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, people are scared.
Yeah.
And some people are inspired.
Absolutely. And like you said, it could just be one of those waves that we got to learn to ride and take advantage of. And
yeah, I definitely view it as one of the big waves to ride right now,
mm-hmm.
especially if you're the first to exploit the technology in a creative way. You know, you could make billions in a day, hypothetically, if you used AI to generate some crazy trading bot or something like that to exploit some money glitch, or I don't know, but
mm-hmm.
there's definitely crazy potential out there.
Yeah, lots of opportunity. Well, thank you for answering some of my questions I had for you. It's always fun picking your brain and hearing your thoughts on things, so thank you.
Cool. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
All right, let's move on to segment 2, a little this or that segment.
Excellent.
So, which NFL stadium recorded the highest sound levels? Was it Arrowhead and the Kansas City Chiefs, or Lumen Field and the Seattle Seahawks?
I know the legend is always that it's the Seahawks, and obviously I've been to a few games, so that is what first springs to mind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah, it's Arrowhead.
Is it really?
It really is. I was shocked by this too. Yeah, so Arrowhead recorded, and this was a couple years ago, I believe, but 142.2 decibels with 76,416 people. And Lumen Field recorded 137.6 decibels with 72,000 fans.
Interesting.
So they had about 4,500 fans less.
Wow.
At Seattle.
Okay.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, some trivia for you.
Okay.
By market cap, which is the bigger public company in Canada? Shopify or TD Bank?
I'm going TD Bank.
That is correct.
Nice. Okay.
Shopify is number 3.
Okay. I got one for you. Hot dogs or corn dogs?
Just in my personal
Just
opinion?
personal opinion.
Hot dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like corn dogs at all?
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
I used to eat them as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. But just the amount of toppings you can put on a hot dog, bacon, onions,
fair,
makes it win.
Absolutely.
Okay, I got a true or false for you.
Okay.
A penny dropped from the top of the Empire State Building could kill someone on the sidewalk below.
True.
A lot of people talk about this. It's actually false because the penny reaches a terminal velocity of around 50 to 60 miles per hour due to air resistance. It's not heavy enough to generate enough speed and kill someone.
But what if someone was looking up, had their mouth open, and that penny went right down their throat?
Well, I think the idea is more that it would split your skull.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess it's just not heavy enough to kill you. Because I remember I used to always hear that people would say like, oh, if you dropped a penny from the Empire State Building, it would kill someone. But no, that was proven to be false.
Okay. Well, my gut told me false, but I thought it was a trick question. So I went with true.
Okay.
Yeah. I got another one for you. What is the rarest M&M, yellow or brown?
I feel like it's definitely brown.
And you were definitely correct.
Okay, yeah. I think you see yellow ones, but you rarely see brown M&Ms.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Do they taste any different?
No.
No, I didn't think so. All right. Can you name 3 of the top 10 biggest U.S. companies?
Starbucks.
Incorrect. That's a good guess, though. I'm surprised they're not up there.
Isn't NASA up there?
No, I believe they're government funded.
I'm going to guess Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft's number 2.
Okay. Apple.
Apple's number 1.
Amazon.
Amazon's number 4. Good job. 3, you had Alphabet or Google. 5, you had NVIDIA. 6, Berkshire Hathaway. 7, Meta. 8, Tesla. 9, Visa. 10, United Health. United Health's the only one I don't really know.
Mm-hmm. What about Walmart?
They'd probably be up there.
Yeah. Okay. Which businesses have the most physical locations around the world? 7-Eleven or McDonald's?
Oh, man. Okay. I know there's a ton of 7-Elevens in Japan and Thailand. Just McDonald's or 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to say 7-Eleven.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And do you want to take a quick guess at how many locations they have?
17,000.
Yeah, we're going to have to up that number by quite a bit.
Really?
So I believe this was in 2019. I couldn't find any more recent data on this for some reason, but 62,105 7-Elevens.
Okay. You know what I think the stat was? I've heard this while I was in Thailand, is that there's 17,000 7-Elevens in Thailand. I think.
See. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. And McDonald's actually isn't even second. Subway's the next highest.
Interesting. I know Subway's a lot cheaper to franchise. All right, true or false? A baby's skull is 6 separate bones when they are born.
True.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
They fuse together as a baby grows.
Yeah. And that's why you gotta always be so careful with their heads.
Yeah, like when that lady at the mall dropped her baby straight on its head.
That sound lives rent-free in my head. I just hear that kid smacking the ground.
That was awful. Like it was about a month ago. We this lady, like, I think the baby like squirmed its way out of the seat.
Yeah.
And its head just smacked the floor.
And the parents just sat there and shook their heads like they were mad at the kid for falling out of the chair.
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Their other daughter is the one that went and picked the baby up off the floor.
I couldn't believe it.
Embarrassing. Another one for you. Where's the Hockey Hall of Fame located? Toronto or Ottawa?
I believe it's Toronto.
You got it.
Okay.
Got it, yeah.
I know I've seen that somewhere. Maybe read about it in a book or something. All right, I'm going to give you 4 names.
Okay.
You're going to rank these people from youngest to oldest.
Okay.
Okay, first you got Wayne Gretzky. Second, Ellen DeGeneres. Third, Michael Jordan. And fourth, Tom Hanks. Rank those from youngest to oldest.
Youngest, I'm going Ellen.
Okay.
Then I'm going Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Then I'm going Tom Hanks. And then Wayne Gretzky.
That is absolutely false.
You gave me so much confidence there.
Michael Jordan is 60. Wayne Gretzky is 62. Ellen DeGeneres is 65.
What?
And Tom Hanks is 66.
No way.
Yeah.
Ellen's still looking good.
Yeah. She wears a lot of makeup.
Yeah. I guess she can pay for whatever she wants to make her look however she wants.
I think she's sponsored by a bunch of makeup brands because she looks young.
Would not be surprised. There's a lot of flack going around Ellen the past couple years, hey?
I don't even know why, but I've definitely heard it.
Yeah, I think her show was canceled and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
According to Google, which isn't always right, who has the higher net worth, Shaq or Justin Bieber?
Shaq.
Correct.
Yes.
Can you guess even approximately either of their net worths?
I'm going to guess 650 million for Shaq's net worth.
That's in the ballpark. It's 450.
Okay.
And Justin Bieber is apparently at 310.
Wow.
Although much younger.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll catch Shaq.
Definitely.
If he cares about net worth.
Yeah. I don't think he does anymore.
Probably not.
Did you ever hear that story of Shaq when he went to go buy like a Rolls Royce or something?
When he got his first contract?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And the salesman didn't think he could afford anything, so Shaq just bought all the cars or something.
Yeah, he bought like 3 of them or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Such a beauty.
I mean, this is a good job by the car salesman.
True.
Got his ego involved.
Yeah. All right, moving on to segment 3. Just a little open conversation. A couple things I want to talk about. The Connor Bedard effect.
Okay.
Did you hear the stat of the Chicago Blackhawks season tickets after they won the number 1 draft pick?
No, what is it?
So within an hour and a half of the Chicago Blackhawks winning the number 1 draft pick, they sold $2.5 million worth of season tickets.
Wow.
In an hour and a half.
That's crazy. I desperately wish the Canucks won that lottery.
Yeah. I really wish, or I really hope for Bedard that he gets a piece of that pie, man.
I hope Bedard hates Chicago and then leaves and comes to Vancouver.
No. Vancouver sucks, man. But yeah, no, I just couldn't believe that. That is insane. And even there was a stat on like the average price of each WHL ticket.
Yeah.
And how much it would go up every time Bedard would go into that town. Like I know Victoria Royals, when he went there, like tickets were like 3x or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sick.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wonder how well he'll do in the NHL.
Yeah.
I watched him in that World Junior. I think that's what it was, World Juniors. And he's good, but I don't know. It just seems, first of all, he's small.
Yeah.
Which isn't as much of a detriment in today's NHL. But I don't know. I felt like he wasn't quite good enough of a skater compared to like other hyped up guys like, you know, Crosby and McDavid coming into the league. They were clearly elite skaters. And yeah, Bedard has an unreal shot, but a shot alone doesn't mean you're going to be like a generational player. I mean, Ovi is, but I think he's on another level. So
Yeah.
I'm curious. He'll probably do well.
Mm-hmm.
He is great, but I just don't know if he'll live up to like a Connor McDavid type level hype.
Definitely. Yeah, you always think like when you're playing in the WHL, not that I have any experience, but when you're playing in the WHL, there's still such a limit for the kind of size of player you're playing against.
Yeah.
And when you go to the NHL, you got grown men.
Yeah, totally
Coming
different.
at ya,
Probably
you know?
30 pounds heavier on average.
Exactly. Like it's just a completely different ball game. So, you get tagged by one of those big guys and your world can get spun around pretty quick.
Definitely.
I know you're not big on movies or actors or anything, but Robert De Niro?
Yes.
He's having his 7th child at age 79.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I don't think a woman could push out a baby at 79, but I guess men still can.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's got some strong swimmers still.
I guess so.
I mean, good on him.
I heard a stat, I don't know if it's true, that older men have uglier kids.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Apparently it's because their DNA has slightly degraded and so they have uglier kids. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's some other reason, like older men can only get with uglier chicks and then they have uglier babies because of that. I'm not sure, but it's just a stat I heard.
Okay. Going back to Bedard for a second.
Okay.
His mom's a rocket.
She is.
Yeah, it's very good looking.
Very good looking. All right. If you could choose any year to have been born, what year would you choose and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going 1969.
Really?
Yeah. Parents' year.
Okay, why?
I feel like they have been able to live the best periods of time so far.
Yeah.
Like they got to experience life when technology wasn't all in your face, so they could grow up and not be worrying about social media and everything. But now that they're older, they get to experience it and the benefits of social media. They got to live through a time where housing prices weren't insane, so you could actually afford to get into the market easier, and also reap the benefits of the market skyrocketing now.
Yep.
So I just kind of think that they kind of got a good balance of those types of things in life.
Yep, fair enough.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, it would be somewhere around where I was born.
Okay.
Not anything later than 1995, so I was born in 1995. I would say the best time to be born was somewhere between 1992 and 1997-ish.
Okay.
I think that was a great time to be brought up without technology, but then be the first to use it when you're like 13, 14, 15. And so we're like kind of the first generation that's really comfortable with it. Obviously, for me personally, that's enabled me to like learn a whole lot. I mean, I've learned so much, and a lot of even my personality probably comes from mentors or people that I've met online, honestly.
Yeah.
And so like,
Yeah, you definitely kind of sound like a robot.
yeah. No, but like YouTubers even, they're mentors basically.
Yeah.
And you grow up listening to them.
Yeah.
And so I think, we had the advantage of being able to learn stuff, but also not having our childhoods corrupted by being glued to an iPad.
Exactly.
I see 5-year-old kids at the dinner table with their parents just plop an iPhone or an iPad right in front of them. And it's like their little escape so that their child is distracted. I can't imagine ever doing that to my child.
No. Even when I was at the bank the other day, this kid's just sitting on the bench with a huge iPad in his hands. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just sad, man. Like, go play with your brother in the hallway or something.
Yeah.
Like
go fight your brother outside like we used to do.
Yeah, go bite his ear or something.
Actually, that's related to kind of one of the questions that I had for you.
Okay.
And this one's a bit of a deeper question. But I had here, do you think it's smart for parents to send their kids to daycare or school in today's climate where they are essentially being raised by someone random who might have the wrong outlook on life?
Yeah, so I definitely don't love it for that reason, that your kid will be so heavily influenced by someone else's behavior. But at the same time, I don't always know what other options some parents have. Like, I mean, sometimes that's their only option is to send their kids to school or daycare.
Yeah.
But if I build the life I want to build for myself, I will make sure my kids never go to daycare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I want it to be done.
Yeah. It's not necessarily that daycares or schools are inherently evil or anything like that. But I would agree, like, if I have my way with it, my wife will be working part-time or she will not be working. And then hopefully I choose a good wife, and then she instills proper values into my kids. I don't really trust schools or other people to program my children these days, and I would rather have a tighter grip on their beliefs and things like that.
Absolutely.
I think that it's a dangerous game to play, sending your child to, daycare or school or summer camp or whatever. I think you do have to be careful because, children just reflect the things that they're shown and taught. And so it's definitely a high priority of mine. Like, I would rather be less wealthy with my wife not working and having her raising my children,
right,
than her working a job at the same time as me, and then our kids kind of get programmed by society. I don't like the way society is headed in terms of that. Like, I even look back at my childhood, and definitely some of my tendencies today are definitely programmed by the caregivers that were taking care of me. Right? So for my children, I definitely aim to homeschool them and or not send them to daycare. Maybe not necessarily homeschool, but some type of alternative schooling, because I don't really think the school system is going in a good direction.
Well, like you said, if you were to homeschool your child, you could give them a grade 12 education by the time they are 10 or 12.
Definitely.
But regarding like summer camps and stuff like that, I think it's really important to send your kids to things like that, just for social skills and,
Definitely. There's a fine line to walk between, you need your kids to get out there, you need your kids to get bullied and stand up for themselves and learn social skills, because we also know kids that were homeschooled that
they're weird.
Yeah, they were hermits, and they never got exposed to other children, and so they can't socialize. So there's definitely a tight line to walk.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as we're talking about children, do you think children should be allowed to choose their gender?
Nobody should be able to choose their gender.
Well, that's what's happening in this world right now.
I feel very strongly that I live in reality, and you can't change my mind on that. I think a lot of today's people think they're being compassionate when they're actually being destructive.
Yeah.
I think gender is the same as your sex at birth. It's what you're born.
Yeah.
I think to tell people anything other than that is the exact opposite of compassionate. I think it's very destructive. Here's a thought experiment for you. Think of the 10 weirdest kids from your high school or middle school.
Okay.
How many of them are gender confused now? You don't need to answer. Like, just think about it. Most of them.
Yeah.
It's a mental problem. It's not a biological fact.
Yeah. And the part that just makes me feel sick is all these gender neutral bathrooms that are coming up now or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so now some kid can just be like, oh, I identify as a girl. And now he can just roll into these bathrooms. And I don't know, I just think in places like the States, you're going to run into a lot more issues with rape and stuff like that.
Definitely. I don't believe in any of that.
Yeah, no, it makes me sick to think about, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's delusional. It's out of touch with reality. I can't disagree with it more.
Yeah, absolutely. What made you smile today?
What made me smile today? That's a weird question. Jeez. I don't know. I had a good day. I'm a happy person. Man, I don't know.
All right.
Had a good business day, I guess. Was productive. I'm excited to go golfing tonight. Had a good day of sales.
Good.
Yeah.
I told you I had a question that would make you feel some type of way.
Yeah. All right, let's kick it back to reality a bit more here.
Yeah.
What is the worst job you've ever worked, and what did you get paid for it?
I worked at a lumber yard where we built these big access mats for out in the oil fields in Alberta.
Okay.
So you did the same thing every single day. It was a process. There were 6 stations, and you just cycled through it all day long. And so you'd throw wood on a table, you drill holes through it, you put bolts in it, and you tighten the nuts on it. And you did that all day long, and it was the most physically demanding job I've ever done. And it's just 8 hours straight of working your butt off.
And what did you get paid?
I think at the time I would have got paid around $15 an hour. But then within like a week, I got promoted to a supervisor and started making $16.75, I think it was. Canadian, yeah.
Wow.
So, and they would give you 2 10-minute breaks and a 20-minute lunch break. But our lunchroom was a 3-minute walk. And so from the time that the whistle went for break, you spent 6 out of your 10 minutes just walking to the lunchroom.
That's ridiculous.
You would literally have 4
Isn't that
minutes.
like against the law?
I don't know.
Aren't you supposed to get like a half-hour lunch and 2 15-minutes minimum?
Maybe it's changed, but that's what it was back then for us. Yeah,
That sounds awful.
It sucked. I would just stick through one of the coffee breaks because it honestly just wasn't worth walking up there and back.
Yeah. Holy, that sounds brutal.
And we had one microwave for like 10 guys working. So when you get into the trailer for lunch, there's no chance, unless you were the first guy in the trailer, there's no chance you're heating up your lunch and eating it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. What about you?
So my dad worked at a company, and I quite often worked there during the summers. I did not enjoy like sweeping out the trailer deck for where the big trucks would pull in.
Yeah.
That was when I was like 13, making either 10 or 12 bucks Canadian an hour.
Wow.
That was when I was 13 though, so that's like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that was no fun. And then every summer, either building or stacking trusses in the summer heat was awful. You got those big steel-toed boots on. And
Yeah.
I worked there from 13 till 19 every summer, and I just dreaded it.
Yeah.
It was awful. I don't know, like, how the workers worked there for what they made. It just, you look at certain jobs where people earn way more money. It's like, why are these people out here doing physical labor for less money than that person who's making $40 in tips an hour as a waitress?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
No. And since we're talking about waitresses and tipping, I'd love to hear your opinion on it, because I know you believe quite strongly about, or have a fairly strong opinion on tipping and the amount of money waitresses back in tipping cultures make.
Yeah, I mean, obviously North America's big tipping culture. I don't think tipping is too common anywhere else, but I think it's essentially businesses passing on the responsibility of paying their employees to the customers. And so I've lived in countries where you don't tip.
Yeah.
It's just so much better. I mean, the one thing is you'll get a little bit better service in North America because they want to earn your tip. But it's like a covert contract. They're not doing it because they want to be good. They just want your money.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not genuine when they're asking you, like, how's your day going? It's like you don't hear that in other countries because they're just there to serve you your food.
And they don't care.
And they don't care. They don't care. They're just trying to make some money in North America. And so it just makes everything that much more expensive. It's pretty ridiculous. I think, once again, being a bartender or a server where the only skills you need is the ability to speak and move your limbs. I don't think you deserve to be paid, I don't know what they get paid. I think they usually get paid like a minimum wage, but then the tips they make can be like $30+ an hour.
Yeah.
Which is exceeding most average jobs out there. So
even pizza delivery boys back home can make, like, with their tips included, can make over $30 an hour.
Yeah, my buddy does.
Yeah.
He rips around downtown and makes good money.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're in like a urban downtown location, so many people are so close to the pizza station that you get a lot of deliveries per hour, and so you make good tips. It is crazy though, isn't it? Like, you're paying for a service. Why are you tipping? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's just become a norm that people have become accustomed to, but
I hope it changes, man.
Yeah. And now they're trying to get you to pay a minimum of 18%.
Yeah.
Rather than, back in the day, they were gracious for 15. Now they want to kick you if you give them 15%.
I think it's even 20 now.
Well, I certainly won't be paying that.
Yeah. No.
So I basically have the rule these days that if they hand me a cash register thing and the minimum option is 18, then I manually go to 15.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But if it says 15, 18, 20, sometimes I'll just give 18. But it's like, if you're forcing my minimum to be 18, I'm not giving it.
It's even crazy. Like, you go to Tim Hortons or McDonald's or whatever, and now when you pay, and there's a tip option on there.
It's just employers not wanting to pay their staff properly, and so they're just passing it on to the customer.
It's a joke, man. Like, you come out here, and the service, in my opinion, is way better out here.
Yeah.
And they don't expect anything from you in return.
No. I mean, that's kind of the way a lot of Western societies are now. They're kind of entitled. They think just because you graduated high school and can, serve alcoholic drinks to people that you deserve a high living wage. Like, what are you really contributing? Not a whole lot. The robots will replace you in 5 years. So, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like the guy chopping down trees in the forest deserves a lot more money than someone that mixes a few drinks together.
Connor Bedard's dad.
Is that what he is?
Yeah, he's a logger.
Oh, I thought you meant he's a bartender.
No, he's a logger.
Okay.
Oh, God.
All right. So what is the most dangerous experience or near-death experience that you have?
Well, I was in the Dominican Republic. I was 17, I think. And this wasn't near death, but it was very scary.
Yeah.
So I was there with my girlfriend at the time, and we went to an all-inclusive resort. And one of the excursions, you could pay, I think it was like $20 US, and it gave you a shuttle bus to downtown, and it gave you an all-inclusive drink voucher for the night and a private table and a shuttle bus back to the resort. So we did that, hop on the bus, go down there, and we went with another couple from the resort who we didn't know, just we're on the same bus, whatever. And when we went to leave, we're like, well, why don't we just kind of like walk for a bit and enjoy the scenery downtown and whatever. And as soon as we left, there was a cop car that started following us. And I was wearing a very floral pattern outfit, like
clearly a tourist.
Clearly a tourist, yes. And I had to pee so bad, so I went to go pee around a corner, and one of the people that we were with grabbed me and was like, do not do that. Like, they're watching you, like the police. So thankfully, she stopped me from doing that. We kept walking a little bit. And once the cops are out of sight, I finally went pee. And all of a sudden, as I'm peeing, I had a flashlight go up on my stream, and it was a cop.
Oh, wow.
And full on flashlight on my stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm like pulling up my drawers, still peeing a little bit almost. And yeah, I got thrown in the back of the cop car. They took me and my girlfriend back to the hotel and said if I didn't give them 400 US, then they were going to throw me in jail for like 4 days. And we were supposed to fly out 2 days later. So I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't work for me personally because I need to be on a flight. And I also had no money. I had no cash. I think I, at the time, may have had $900 total in my bank account.
Yeah.
So they took us back to my hotel, escorted me up to my hotel room, where I grabbed my debit card, and they took me downstairs to an ATM until I could pull out enough money that they were satisfied with. And then they took it and left us there.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much did you have to spend?
400 US.
You had to spend it.
Yeah.
You couldn't bargain.
I was not bargaining. They said it was either 400 US or go spend a couple nights in jail.
Wow.
And as a 17-year-old white boy, no thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. I have photos in the back of the cop car. I'll show you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? Any near deaths?
I mean, we've probably all been near death, even some of us without knowing it, or car accidents that are almost car accidents.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing that really goes to mind. The only thing that I can think of is my lacrosse team. We were having a party, and we went into the woods.
Sketchy.
And there was this big, waterfall / stream of water, and we were all just messing around in the shallow river part, but it was a very strong current, and we didn't really realize it until actually my dad came and all saw us in there, and he was like, "Get out of there!" Made us all get out because like right behind that, there's like a huge waterfall.
Yeah.
And it would have been super easy for one of us to just slip, and then that current would just take you right off the waterfall.
Yeah.
And we were a bunch of dumb 12-year-olds who just didn't think much of it, just probably following the leader. And when I think back to that, it would have been so easy to have fallen in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like slippery, mossy rocks.
Yeah.
Strong current. Yeah, could have been death for someone.
Water's scary, man.
Totally.
Like I do have a very near death experience. Well, it wasn't near death, but I was surfing and I got pulled out by the current and I didn't realize it. So the whole time I was trying to swim out past the surf break. And once I finally got past, I went to turn around and I realized how far away I was from shore, and I started panicking. So I instantly started trying to swim back to shore, but I was swimming into the current, and I completely gassed myself, and I only went further and further away to the point where I couldn't see the beach anymore.
Wow.
And it was the scariest moment of my life, hands down.
And how'd you get back?
So once I calmed down, I remembered that you're supposed to swim across from the current to get out of it and then swim in. So the whole time I was just swimming straight back into the current. So I needed to swim the other way.
Wow.
Out of the current and then swim back. That was the hardest I've ever worked in my entire life too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. I haven't surfed since.
Really?
Maybe once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Water ain't for me, man.
No.
Swimming ain't for me. I can barely tread water. I'd be dead.
Yeah.
I don't play around with water.
Yeah. No, it's scary.
All right, and with that, we're gonna wrap it up.
Go play some golf.
Yeah, fun quick pod.
Yeah.
It's still not even dark yet, but you can kind of watch the sunset as we've been talking. But yeah, that's all for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed. And if you guys have any suggestions for what you want us to talk about or anything you want to hear about, let us know.
Drop it in the comments below, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks very much. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Cheers, guys.